No, 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 one. Let's begin. Hi there, good morning and welcome to the trade setup right here on BloombergQuint Live. I'm Niraj Shah, and it's the weekly expiry day. It's also a day full of, I presume, stock reactions. So therefore, let's brace ourselves for a lot of activity in the session today. First up, I usually talk about what stood out for me towards the end of the trade setup. I think one of the things that stood out yesterday was this development that in part played to what the US markets did as well. The study of the coronavirus vaccine candidate being developed by Pfizer and BioNTech showed that the drug created neutralized antibodies. The results were released online but were not reviewed by a medical journal yet. However, that led to some bit of optimism. That led to some bit of optimism as far as Pfizer shares go as well. But the US markets themselves didn't have a bad day. So we starting off July not on the back foot, which is actually a good sign. All the three indices actually had a pretty decent run. Keep that in mind. And strangely, of course, people try to figure out what are the past correlations. So if you look at the NASDAQ, for example, and if you see the kind of moves that the NASDAQ tech-heavy index is doing, it is trading significantly above its 200-day moving average. And apparently, I'm not a technical expert really, but apparently the patterns are very similar to what happened in NASDAQ pre the crash, pre-COVID crash that we saw as well. So keep these technical patterns in mind. However, I think the market is before everybody was trying to prove to be the naysayer. So, well, that's okay. But yeah, I mean, the going is good as far as the US markets go. Asia is not doing bad, you would have to say. Actually, Asia, SGX, Nifty, all of them showing some or the other signs of some positive resilience as well. So this is what KOSPI, HSI, etc. are up to. So good gains early part of trading day today, and you would see the same being reflected when it comes to the SGX Nifty as well, about 0.7, 0.8% the last time I checked on the website. So therefore, the start promises to be a good one for the Indian bourses, and I think we need that. We need the start to be buoyant today because the banks have participated in trade yesterday, and we need this to happen. Now, before we get to the trade setup, just one more variable that is important is oil. A development that happened yesterday is that OPEC cut the output to the lowest levels since 1991 because of how the demand has been slammed down due to the coronavirus, and therefore there was a bit of an uptick in oil markets. Now, keep in mind, the other interesting bit is that the barrels which are stored on tankers at the sea are now starting to being sold. Crude oil in the floating storage, as they like to call it, dropped below the 150 million barrels from the 180 million number in the month of April, which shows that there is some bit of demand that is returning back, and all of this should be positive. So demand showing some uptakes, output cut should be positive for oil. It should hold on to the prices, if not rise further. So be mindful of that if you're trading some of the oil sensitives as well. However, as I said, the trade setup is a lot more about specific names, yes, but you have to bear in mind that while indices remain in a very sideways band in the current scenario, especially in the expiry day, but the market breadth is positive, was positive yesterday as well. And I think the auto sales, the wholesale sales gaining, the wholesale volumes have gained some momentum, and that may aid sentiment. In the month of May, wholesale volumes weren't the best, even if retail volumes came up. In June, for the month of June, the wholesale volumes have shown an uptick. We have a conversation with RC Bhargava of Maruti Suzuki coming up at 9:30 today. You don't want to miss that really, because he's talking a lot about wholesale volumes, etc., and all of that. And I'll be asking him about how he expects the rest of the year to be. But sentiment is positive around autos, so keep that at the back of your mind. The other last thing when it comes to sentiment and the trade setup is NBFCs. Now, because of the RBI moves yesterday, I think a lot of people have tried to assess what they would mean. I've taken an excerpt from the Jeffries note, and I would like to bring that out because I think that sums up really what could happen. Jeffries is saying that the proposed scheme for NBFCs, if offered with simple processes and formalities, may be easy to implement and can abate liquidity risks for NBFCs or contagion risks of the financial sector. Now, that's a tall statement because everybody and their aunt is saying that there are going to be liquidity risks and contagion risks for the financial sector in the next 6 months. If indeed the Reserve Bank of India is able to come out with schemes like these and implement them well, and if indeed the contagion risks go away, that's a really big positive for the market. Let's wait and watch how it happens. Jeffries believes that if it's done well, then it has the potential to do that. The stocks of the day. Now, the stock of the day today, uh, and every day I'm now starting to look at cash stock, viewers, you would have seen, because I think these stocks are actually showing that really big momentum. In today's session, I think the railway related stocks will be the stocks of the day. And don't know what, I mean, I haven't tried to analyze, or I don't even know if it's possible to analyze what kind of benefits would come in to the railway related stocks because of the government opening up parts of railways to private vendors. But the momentum might carry all of the related stocks higher. So you don't be, I'm not naming them because these are the ones that will react, but don't be surprised if a Texmac or Titagar, I think a Hind rectifies, that whole bunch of railway related stocks, BEML, could well react in the session today. So be mindful of them. They could well be very active names in the session today. I would watch out for DV's Lab. The stock is corrected quite a bit in the last 2 days. There is a SEBI order, which is SEBI's passed an insider trading order against the CFO for activities pertaining to July 2017. Now, uh, it'll be interesting to see how this one reacts further in the session today. My guess is that even if the markets were to punish the stock a little bit in trade today, uh, it's a temporary negative and not a permanent one. That is my presumption. It's not against the promoters; it's against the CFO. Yes, there could be damage. Um, I doubt there'll be long-lasting damage. It's a prime API player. It's much sought after. This is not against the promoters of the company. In my assessment, this will not damage the stock permanently, even if it does. So let's wait and watch how it shapes up. Really. Axis Bank, the stock was very active yesterday. There's a board meet today for fundraising. Also for Tata Power, there's a board meet today for fundraising. But the belief is that the existing PE investor Bain Capital may up its stake in this round as well. One of the media houses has done a story. They hold about 3.46%. A couple of other people have probably put their hat in the ring or may put their hat in the ring. So this one could be an interesting one today because of the gains that Axis Capital already had in the session. Axis Bank already had in the session yesterday. So let's wait and watch how this one does. I thought the announcement from Dixon Technologies was interesting. It's a very expensive stock. Look at the capabilities. They've said that they've started to manufacture set-top boxes. The total investment is just 40 to 50 lakh rupees. The revenues in FY21 from this is 100 to 150 crores. Can you imagine the ROI that a Dixon Tech enjoys now and the incremental ROI that comes into this business with every new line of business that it adds, temporary or permanent in nature? I mean, capabilities deserve a premium. I think that's what's happening with Dixon Technologies. Very expensive stock, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some more upside today. Last but not the least, Anoop Engineering. Don't know about the fundamentals of the company, but I just saw that HDFC MF has bought about 0.82% stake at 380 per share. Would be an interesting one. Last but not the least, I end with this very fascinating tale of what Tesla has done yesterday, isn't it? For all of you who are not aware of this, Tesla, by virtue of the move yesterday, and the chart tells you a story, doesn't it? By virtue of the move yesterday, Tesla has become the world's most valuable car maker. It's overtaken Toyota in its market cap. What a run Elon Musk's Tesla is having. Viewers, thanks for tuning in to the trade setup in the session today. Have a profitable day.